Welcome to Simply English Explained, the podcast where we make learning English fun and easy. I am Eric.
And I am Lisa. Whether you're just starting your English journey or looking to enhance your language skills, you're in the right place.
We'll provide sample dialogues to show you how these words are used in everyday conversations, making learning English easy.
So if you're ready to simplify your English learning experience, let's get started. Okay, Eric, what are the words today?
Okay, Lisa. The first word today is weird. Then we will continue with convenient. And to compare. Then to run into. And the final one is to cost an arm and a leg.
Okay, let's move on to our first word, Eric.
The first word is weird.
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 Weird? That's a strange word. What does it mean?
Weird means something that is very unusual or strange, not what you expect.
Can you give us some examples of weird?
Of course. Imagine two friends talking about a movie. One friend says, "That movie was so weird. I didn't understand how it ended."
And the other friend might say, I know, right? Aliens just appeared out of nowhere.
Exactly. The movie was unexpected and strange to them.
All right, let's dive into another example of dialogue using the word weird.
Hey, have you seen Tom's new haircut?
No, I haven't. What's so special about it?
Well, it's very weird. He shaved one side of his head and painted the other side neon green.
Whoa, that's weird!
That's a great example, Lisa. It shows how someone's unusual haircut can be described as weird because it's not typical or expected.
Definitely. Now, let me ask you, Eric, what's the weirdest fashion trend you've ever seen?
Oh, I once saw people wearing socks with sandals. It was quite strange to me.
Socks with sandals? That does sound like a weird combination. Let me ask a question. Can weird be a good thing, Eric?
Sometimes, yes. If someone has a unique style, you might say, "Your style is weird, but I like it."
So weird can be interesting and cool.
Right. It's all about context. Now, let's try a different setting. Imagine you're at a food festival.
Okay, so maybe someone tries a new food and says, this tastes weird, but it's actually delicious.
Perfect. They're surprised because it's different, but still enjoyable.
I see. Weird is about things that surprise us.
That's it. But remember, it's polite to be careful when calling something or someone weird.
Why is that, Eric?
Because calling something weird can sometimes be rude if you're not careful with your words.
Got it? We should use weird in a friendly way.
Absolutely. And it's okay to like weird things. It makes life interesting.
That's true. Thanks for explaining weird, Eric.
You're welcome, Lisa. Accepting the weird can be fun sometimes.
Yes, and we hope our listeners enjoy discovering weird and wonderful things in English. Okay, let's move on to the next word.
The next word is convenient.
Convenient?
Convenient. Convenient means something that is easy to do or use, something that makes life easier.
Ah, so like when something saves you time or effort?
Exactly. For example, if a store is close to your house, you might say, "It's convenient because I don't have to travel far to shop."
I see. Can you provide an example dialogue using the word convenient?
Sure, Lisa. Here it is.
Hey, Sarah, I heard there's a new coffee shop near our office.
Really? That's so convenient. We can grab a quick coffee before work or during our lunch break.
Absolutely. It's just a 2-minute walk from here. Let's check it out tomorrow morning.
Great idea. It'll be nice to have a convenient option for our caffeine fix.
That's a great example, Eric. If something is easy and close, it shows it is very convenient.
Definitely, being convenient is important for many people, especially when they have busy schedules. Having things like shops, restaurants, or services close can save a lot of time and effort.
All right. Now let me ask you, Eric. What's the most convenient invention you use in your daily life?
That would have to be my smartphone. It's convenient because I can do so many things with it, like check emails, navigate, and stay connected with friends.
Smartphones are definitely useful devices. Now let me think. What's the most convenient mode of transportation for you?
For me, definitely my bicycle. It's convenient because I can easily navigate through traffic and reach my destination without worrying about parking.
That sounds great. Now, Eric, do you have any tips for our listeners on how to make their daily routines more convenient?
Sure. One tip is to plan ahead and organize your tasks efficiently. This can help you save time and make things more convenient.
Great advice, Eric. Planning ahead can definitely make life more convenient. Well, it seems like we've covered the word convenient quite well. Shall we move on to the next word?
Yes, let's move on to the next word. The next word is to compare.
To compare.
To compare. To compare means to look at two or more things and see how they are similar or different.
So like when you look at two things to see how they are the same or different.
Exactly. If you're shopping for a new phone, you might compare different models to see which one has the best features.
I see. Can you provide an example dialogue using the phrase to compare?
Sure thing. Here's one.
Have you decided which restaurant to go to for dinner?
Not yet. I'm still comparing the menus to see which one has the most options we like.
Yes, it's a good idea to compare them before we decide.
I got it. In this dialogue, Brian compares the menus of different restaurants to decide where to eat, right?
That's correct, Lisa. It's a common situation where we use the word to compare to make decisions.
All right. Now let me ask you, Eric, what's something you recently compared before you made a decision?
Well, I recently compared the prices of different laptops before I bought one for work. I wanted to make sure I was getting the best deal.
Comparing prices is definitely important when people make big purchases. Now let me think. What's something you often compare when you shop for groceries?
For me, it's the prices and quality of fruits and vegetables. I like to compare them to make sure I'm getting fresh produce at a good price.
That makes sense. It's important to get the best value for your money. Now, Eric, do you have any tips for our listeners on how to compare things effectively?
One tip is that they should make a list of criteria that are important to them before they compare. This can help them stay focused and make a better decision.
Great advice, Eric. Making a list can certainly help them compare things more easily. Well, it seems like we've covered the phrase to compare quite well. Shall we move on to the next word?
Yes, let's move on to the next word. The next word is to run into.
To run into.
To run into. To run into is a phrasal verb, and it means to meet someone or something, often by chance, unexpectedly.
So like when you meet someone unexpectedly without planning to?
Exactly. For example, if you're walking in the park and you see a friend you haven't seen in years, you might say, "I ran into Sarah at the park."
I see. Can you provide an example dialogue using the phrase to run into?
Sure, Lisa.
Hey, Amanda. I didn't expect to see you here.
Oh, hi, Mike. Yeah, I was just taking a walk in the park. What a surprise to run into you.
I know, right? I was just jogging. How have you been?
I've been great. Thanks. It's so nice to run into a familiar face. We should catch up sometime.
Definitely. Let's exchange numbers and plan something soon.
That's a nice example of running into someone, Eric. It shows how the phrase is used when you meet someone by chance.
Absolutely. Running into someone can be a pleasant surprise, especially if it's a friend you haven't seen in a while.
Is to run into only for meeting people, Eric?
No, it can also mean to encounter a situation or problem, like we ran into some traffic on the way here.
So it can be used for both good and bad surprises?
That's right. Now, let's try a different setting. Imagine you're at a store.
Maybe you were looking for a gift and you found the perfect one. You could say, I ran into this amazing book. It's just what I was looking for.
Perfect. You found something unexpectedly? That was just right.
I see. To run into is about unexpected encounters.
Yes, and it's always a surprise. And remember, running into new experiences can be exciting.
Thanks for explaining to run into, Eric.
You're welcome, Lisa. It's a phrase that's very useful to know in spoken English.
Yes, and we hope our listeners run into many new English words.
We do. Keep exploring, and you'll run into all sorts of interesting things.
Okay, let's move on to the last word.
The last word today is to cost an arm and a leg.
To cost an arm and a leg.
To cost an arm and a leg.
That sounds weird. What does it mean? Is it an idiom?
Yes, it is an idiom. It's a funny way to say something is very expensive. It doesn't really mean losing an arm or a leg.
Can you give us some examples with to cost an arm and a leg?
Sure, Lisa. Imagine two friends talking about buying a car. One friend says, I saw a nice car, but it costs an arm and a leg.
And the other friend might say, that's too much. Let's find a cheaper one.
Right, Lisa. They think the car is too expensive.
Can we use to cost an arm and a leg for small things too?
Well, it's usually for things that are really expensive, like a house or a fancy holiday.
Okay, let's listen to our example dialogue.
Sure thing. Here's one.
Did you get a new phone, Jack?
Yes, but it cost me an arm and a leg. I had to save up for months to afford it.
Got it. So in this dialogue, Jack is saying that the phone was very expensive and they had to save up for a long time to buy it, right?
That's correct, Lisa. It's a common situation where we use the expression to cost an arm and a leg to emphasize the high price of something.
I see. So is it mainly for big purchases?
Exactly. Now, let's try a different setting. Imagine you're at a concert.
Maybe the tickets were expensive and someone says, these tickets cost me an arm and a leg.
That's right. They paid a lot for the experience.
It's a way to express that you spent a lot of money.
Yes, and it's often used to show surprise at high prices.
But we shouldn't use it all the time, right?
Correct. It's best for times when you're really shocked by the cost.
Thanks for explaining to cost an arm and a leg, Eric.
You're welcome, Lisa. And we hope our listeners don't have to say things cost an arm and a leg too often.
We sure do. Save your money and look for good deals, folks. And that wraps up another episode of our podcast.
We hope you enjoyed learning about new English words and phrases with us.
Remember, practice makes perfect, so keep using these words in your everyday conversations.
Stay tuned for more episodes where we'll continue to make English learning fun and easy.
Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye for now.